Good afternoon. My name is Niko House, host of the political radio show Mikasa Sukasa, and I hope that you all are safe. Thank you all for all the well wishes. I have been absent, obviously, because I live in South Florida, so I had to evacuate, and I was out of power. Then I was out of internet. I'm still out of internet at my house, and it's been crazy. We're trying to get things back on track. Hopefully, we should be good. Totally by tonight or tomorrow night, but I didn't feel like waiting any longer to do my show, so we're going to do some videos and all that good stuff over the course of the next couple of days before my radio show on American Freedom on Thursday. So with that being said, I'm sure a lot of you have seen the recent expansion in the military defense budget, and it is absolutely disgusting. They just pumped $700 billion into a defense budget when we rarely, if ever, use our defense budget to defend ourselves. We're more so like, doing what imperialists do, taking over other countries, bombing Yemen, bombing Syria, just throwing bombs wherever we can. And these are the same people who told us that we can't afford a couple of billion to ensure that people have a guaranteed right to medical care, right? That's that is unaffordable. These are the same people that tell us that we can't increase the minimum wage, or we can't raise wages for federal jobs, or we can't take care of the veterans who have already returned from war. But we can spend $700 billion on the defense budget. Now, John McCain would have liked us to believe that, because this was his excuses, we are losing our edge in the military. We need to raise that budget so that we can help equip our soldiers better. That's a lie. That is a bold-faced lie. The military has barely been given any increase. The personnel do not benefit from these budget increase, in case you were wondering. I know they like to convince you that, but the same people who vote to increase these budgets are the same ones like Marco Rubio, who actually did not vote. He did not vote in this particular budget increase, but like John McCain and others, these are the same ones who voted against giving the military the 4% raise that Obama said that they needed in order to meet ends meet. If you're like a private, or even E4 with a family, or E5 with a family, that 4% would just literally barely bring you above the poverty line. And they voted against this, saying that they didn't need it. They would only vote for a 1% raise. And these are the same people who just voted for a $700 billion expansion. Only 22% of the military budget, the defense budget, actually went to the personnel. Now, these are the same personnel who are on food stamps right now, ladies and gentlemen. These are the personnel that can't afford not everybody gets M4s. Only some people can get M4s. People are still using rusty M16s. Like, they don't get the equipment they need. There are planes crashing right now in naval bases. They're getting pressurized. Essentially, when you're in the air, you have to keep your cockpit pressurized, and so these mechanisms to keep people safe and keep the cockpit adequately pressurized are busting. And they're not actually fixing the problem because they don't have the money to. However, they're raising the budget to $700 billion. So what that tells me is that likely that there are people benefiting from military contracts. People are getting $1 million contracts without actually spending the money on military equipment as much. They're damn sure not spending it on personnel. For those of you who think it goes to the veterans, it doesn't. Veterans budget is like really, so we fall into the federal employee budget, and we don't even have all of that. We get like a percentage of that. The veterans do. So $700 billion. They tell me we can't take care of veterans. They can't take care of people's basic medical needs. They can't raise the federal minimum wage. They can't. The wage from federal employees that are making like $12 or $13 an hour, and they should be making more. But a lot of them have specialized jobs. They tell us that we can't get better adequate care at the VA hospital. They tell us we can't get better care for PTSD patients. All these things that we can't get better care for, that we can't get higher raises or wages for, that we can't give raises to military personnel who need to take care of their family. So they got to stress about going to fight somebody else's war on top of stressing when they get home just to make ends meet. But we can afford a $700 billion budget. just to let you all know, the only person who voted against this, or the only potential candidate who voted against this, is Bernie Sanders. Now, he's voted for some shady bills in the past based off the information that he had, like before 2000, which I don't agree with. But once again, in 2001, in 2000, and a little bit earlier 2000, we all were basing our knowledge off of what we had available to us, and now we know that the CIA fabricates knowledge or fabricates information and facts and lies all the time. So, granted, it probably made sense at the time. Now, as he's begun to wise up, he's made better decisions in that regard. So, although I don't agree with some of his policies as far as Russia is concerned, he's the only person that tried to vote against this ridiculous expansion after Trump said that he was going to reduce the budget, or reduce the debt, excuse me. So he said he was going to reduce the debt, not the budget. So obviously that's not happening, right? So at the same time they're stripping healthcare away from people, they're telling them, oh, but we can afford to go to war some more. Kamala Harris voted for this. Elizabeth Warren voted for this. For what? These people can't show up to give raises to military personnel, but they can vote to buy drones and fill their pockets up with contracts. I'd love to know your thoughts about this. Leave your comments below. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and always remember, find your balance.